can't be mortals.
Welcome, mere mortalites, to another round of the Mere Mortals Musings. We're live here on Sunday, 17th of August, around 8:10 a.m. today. A little bit earlier than normal. Normally 9 a.m., but always is a maybe.
We're moving towards being earlier. Karen's starting to wake up earlier, which is good. So
this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
I'll probably talk about this in the monthly/yearly goals at some point. But,
okay. Yep.
Musings episodes where we pick a particular topic and dive deeper into it, give you the juicy information, focusing on effective philosophy, things you can take away into your real life. Today's episode, I'm Kyron here on this side.
Juan on this side.
On the other, if I didn't already do that. And today's topic is investing in creators. Now, I have been interested in this idea for a while, so I posted a bunch of videos in our Discord. So if you want the kind of like backup or the...
How did you come across, by the way, Tom Nosk? Just YouTube popped up?
Okay, so that's so funny because that's the guy I have no idea of, and I literally wrote in here, I posted another video of a guy, won't bother naming him as his channel is Dime a Dozen. So
Okay, there you go.
I guess you
Cool.
had
No,
searched him before or something.
I had searched him before. Interestingly enough, and again, we'll get into the creator. I think it's going to be a little bit more fluid conversation, but I'm fairly certain, let's say I'm 98% sure, he was in the same group learning channel or whatever of the School of Mastery with Lewis Mocker. And Lewis attributes him as like one of the persons who taught this guy how to do things. And you can kind of tell the styling and the things. I came across him, I think, by random. He's a Melbourne guy, by the way. And he used to be a photographer, a videographer. That's why he's got a bit more stylistic styling of to his in.
Yeah.
I've been looking at things more so for the... angles, camera, content creation, more of the quality. I really enjoyed his presentation style. The content's good, don't get me wrong, fine, dime a dozen though.
Yeah.
But the styling and the putting things together is good. I like the style.
Sure.
I think it'll fit really nicely into this conversation of investing in creators.
Okay, yeah, because the video I posted was why most creators are broke, and then parentheses, how to not be, and how to not be. Okay. Cool. So I'll give it like a setup for this, which is for the past couple of years, probably like a year after starting the podcast, I've been intrigued by this idea of content, the kind of merging of content creation and the, I guess monetization is the word, but I don't like that word per se. Like still being able to focus on what it is that you enjoy creating and digital. I'm talking about digital content creation, particularly not physical, without and being able to focus mostly on that without having to go kind of down the side path of creating a whole nother business or something around it. So, for example, we were talking about Tom. So his channel, and he was talking about like, I love content creation, this is what I do. And that video that I just mentioned is all about how you create a whole entire separate fucking business to monetize from your content creation. So his advice was essentially that I got out from this was, okay, so you've got a channel, you're creating, you're enjoying it, you're getting some views and stuff. Go create a whole fucking new business and then you can make money. And then this is actually just part of your funnel to get to this whole thing. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, well, yes, that's advice of some sort, but that's it's just like telling someone to get a whole new job in a way. And so I was going, well, okay, well, that's not, you're essentially going into marketing or business instead of, and you're not continuing to work on your digital content creation, the thing that you're drawn to, perhaps good at, enjoy, and you're having to do something entirely different, which I understand getting some new skills and some things, but that is it just seemed like a really big jump to me. And so I was more interested in things that are more closely linked to how someone can receive compensation, monetary compensation for sure, like whether it be a lot or enough just to get by, or even just a tiny little bit just to cover costs. how they might do that without having to go to the crazy kind of like marketing business world. And so this is, I see this as linked what he was talking about, which was like consuming or spending in creators. So you're consuming a product or you're spending to buy something from them. And I'm more interested in the perhaps like people who are more looking to invest in a creator of some sort. And when I say invest, I mean there's potential for monetary or other upsides for doing that.
Yeah,
and this I'm talking about the people consuming content from someone being able to say like, okay, here's some money, chucking them at them, and receiving something back from them, which isn't it's a subtle distinction. Like, what's the difference between like investing and spending? You know, you can spend on groceries, but that's not an investment.
Yeah, okay. So there's I might go with the concrete examples here because I've got quite a few, and I've got an equation that I was trying to create out of this.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But I want to give you some concrete examples. Maybe the mere mortals at home listen and see if this also attunes to one of these ones. And I want to check with Kyron and how he has, because there's an obvious one, which is the value for value model that we've played around with. We've supported for many, many years, and we continue to do so, right? You can send through a Boostagram and support us monetarily in that way, but obviously you can share the video, the podcast, everything like that supports. But I'll give you my real world examples. One, I went, and like I don't do this often, like it's very hard for me to part with money unless I'm just being like crazy. It's like I've got two things. I will on a dime.
Disagree with that.
I will on a dime go and do some crazy things with money. That's like literally I've done this almost when I purchased a brand new phone just for the fact of like my phone was dirty. I didn't realize it was dirty. But two, I remember one day I was driving on the highway in my Golf R, light blue, which currently lives in Toowoomba, given that the owner messaged me. And I was driving on the highway. I saw the BMW like on the right-hand side, and I was like, I'm buying a BMW today. Took off the highway, went straight to BMW. I was going to buy an SUV, and that I actually told someone that I was going to buy an SUV. I walked out with a sedan sports car. So
Very good.
I can do that. But at the other end, on like maybe more continuous payments, I'm real stingy.
Yeah, Juan sees
stingy.
The price of chicken go up, and he's like, oh, nah, free range, not
Yesterday, we finished a run.
What's worse than cage eggs?
Yesterday we finished a run. I went into Woolworths, and I was going to buy a banana for my daughter. It was 92 cents when you weigh it out and whatnot. And I almost went back and I was like, no, I'm going to get a free banana for her. Like, what is this? Yeah. I paid for it, folks. I paid for it. No, so my real world example is one, I did invest $100 per month. It was Australian $100 per month for a School of Mastery, which is Lewis Mocker. And in that example, I invested direct money to receive content or advice or things that he'd put together for sellable course / content that wasn't readily available. So there, I guess, from investing in creators, I'm investing in someone's put a business together and it's very like acutely content for this business. It's not, he did create some videos and content elsewhere and I had seen him on social medias, maybe kind of like Tom. And then he structured it together. Now, so I was directly investing to get like learnings and how some other people had done it and the community around it. I've now stopped that because I consumed everything he created. And the videos just went on a weekly, fortnightly basis. I went, look, I'm not getting the value I need from $100 per month. Fine, cool, happy. So then I'll give you the Tom Nosk one. So obviously, I believe he's come from the Lewis Mocker side of things. He also has one of those brand products where it's going to the group of 80, second round group of 80 to try and get $30,000 per month or something to that effect. That didn't attract me at all. I'm like, I don't have enough, let's say, goodwill with the individual or care too much about the individual to make me prompt to go pay. I didn't even look into how much the payment was. Even the content and the quality is all beautiful. I'm not prepared to invest anything in that creator in the sense of I don't need any more return. Whatever you're giving me for free, I'm happy.
Yeah, it leans a bit much towards the, it's not a pyramid or multi-MM, what is it?
MLM. Multi-level marketing.
Yeah, multi-level marketing. But it's, I got famous, like trading. Here's my trading course. and so they're selling like a course on how to get famous of creating courses or things like that, where it's like, this is how you create digital content. I make so much money from creating digital content by selling you a course on how to create digital content. And I was like, well, it's not really digital content that you're famous for. It's for selling
for something else. Correct.
So it's
Great. But then, so those two examples are maybe where it's a more direct / I don't do it. However, here's the places where, so then here's another one where I still don't invest in creators, even though they do provide a lot of value for me. I might, so Nick Bear from Nick Bear Nutrition, loads of videos that he pumps out. I watch basically all of them, write comments on it. I guess that's maybe the way I support it. Other podcasts out there of content creators, I might share it, but whether it's YouTube or whether it's Patreon or other ways that they can be supported, I don't invest dog diddly crap. So I'm like, in my mind, it's very hard to part ways with any of that money, but I will provide value in sharing it if I do feel like it's valuable.
Yeah,
right?
I've got a counterexample to that, which is I think.
Wait, I'll give you the final one because
Okay,
this is the final one, and then take all these examples, because the final one is I have invested in a creator purely for the individual, purely for the brand, purely for the human that they're doing, not for any other reason, and that's Tim Ferriss. So with Tim Ferriss, whether it's NFTs from his side, whether it has the actual direct one is he's got a new book upcoming, and he gave the opportunity for people, only a limited amount. You pay, it's a very, very small amount of money per 3 months, and you just partake in supporting him to do the book. I didn't go into that with any expectation that I was going to get anything. He did send out some goodies to people while in that group, and you get to see the book being developed, which is kind of nice. I think he also gave like a Q&A for the people who were in that space, but I just missed it, whatever. So, and in that one, I went, I don't even care almost to the point of getting the book or getting any goodies. Purely it's, I'm happy to pay this very minimal fee per whatever time domain that it is to impart to him, obviously doing the like behind the scenes creation, but for a full support in being like, okay, here's a person amongst a lot of the other people that I could name that have been good influencers. I'm like, yeah, I'm willing to give you that money. Absolutely. And maybe Gary Vee has been the same in going to VCon and some other formats like that. So that's a full spectrum, I guess I was going to say, of investing in creators, from some direct like learning to like absolutely not, I'm just not going to do it, to like, okay, there's some few select ones that I have done that.
Yeah. And what I would probably say is the main difference that I just noticed between what you were describing with Tom and Lewis versus the other two is you're paying for access to things which aren't readily available. You're essentially paying for a gatekept product. Whereas if you're creating digital content, I would say you're doing it for the purpose of putting it out there for people. So, because I guess it's flipped in a way. They're creating digital content to get you to get to a thing, whereas when I think of a creator, I'm thinking of someone who's like creating. They're creative. They're expressing themselves, and so that by almost necessity,
I get what you're saying. Yep,
is putting it out for free. Van Gogh, and it's not like Van Gogh's like. I won't use Van Gogh.
I'll put it in this way. I think Tom, Lewis, those sort of individuals, the end goal is increased viewership to get you through the funnel of their payment.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe the others, even though it's more of a byproduct, it's I'm doing it for the sake of the creation.
Yeah.
If the byproduct is money, fantastic.
Yeah. Pretty much. So I've created a big brain list. Of things, but I'm gonna. That's a little teaser.
Okay, big brain list.
After the Boostagram Lounge, but so just the two other videos that I posted. So getting back to the thing, one of the things that I was wondering right at the start was when we were creating these videos and stuff, and you're getting into what are we doing here? Are people enjoying it? There's one, 5 views on YouTube, and 10 on the audio. Are we doing good? Is this worth it? And I think one of the things that comes up is like, how do I know if I'm creating something valuable? And I guess like, how is it measured? this is partly a technological problem, I feel, and the rest is on kind of like creating a good story, learning marketing skills, and things like that. So I wanted to focus more on the technology side of things, because you can get sidetracked, and that's why I was bringing up Van Gogh. Like, why was Van Gogh not valued as a creator in his own time? And it was only after his death that he was. And then why is someone? Do you know who Milli Vanilli is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just of the age where like Milli Vanilli was a thing. And I went back and looked recently, and essentially, for those who don't know, it was a band of two rather handsome black dudes with dreadlocks. I think they were probably like, I don't know, like Bahamas. Something like that. I feel that's like where
I'll try to give you the vibe off, yeah.
But it was a German band, and they were lip syncers. That was the big like controversy. And so they had this really popular album. They didn't actually sing it, obviously. They were more just like, they were there for their dance moves. They were renowned for that. I was watching a video and I'm like, they're not even fucking dancing good, man. Like they're literally just two pretty looking black dudes.
Yeah.
There's all they've got going for them. And
that's what we're missing.
Why were they so highly valued when there was kind of what you would say is little substance behind them? No one plays a Milli Vanilli song nowadays.
No.
So
I'm sure if you're listening to this and you're young, you're probably just like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. So the other two videos that I posted, there was one from Gary V, he talked about, and his observation is like, there's a wave of what he calls QVCification, once again.
QVCification.
Show an age here, which is QVC was a TV for the youngsters at home. Was daytime television, and they would sell products on there. So it's kind of like, here's this foldable, extendable ladder, and it's kind of got like a host with a salesman at the same time, and
I used to watch that.
A 30-minute segment. I watched things of it, and then I would not stick around because it was very just being sold at. Just one big ad, man.
Honestly, sometimes I would watch it just for the fun of the way that they're presented.
Yeah, okay. Look, there's funny videos. If you look at like online,
one of them falling or like
QVC
breaking,
fails or something, there's some funny shit for sure. And they would do it live a lot of the time as well, which is why it was so funny. But what Gary says is there's this thing called Commerce-tainment, which is already very popular in Asia, and it's essentially going live and you're creating entertainment while selling a product at the same time. And there's a balance between how hard you're selling things and how hard you're being entertaining and creating content, I guess.
Yeah. Wait, to give you an example for individuals, there's like the full super fast example that's usually seen in like Asia, China example, where it's just like a pretty girl showing an item, kind of throwing it away, and people can spend on it. But I have seen now a lot of clips coming out of more Western style of commercial selling, where it'll be usually with luxury goods. It'd be the one I've seen is this guy, and he holds up a Louis Vuitton wallet, and he goes, as he talks, the auction begins, and it's 20 seconds. And in those 20 seconds, he'll go, wallet, this is quite rare. Look at this. Oh, nice colors. Oh, you wouldn't see me walking around with this. And then he sells after 20 seconds and goes again. The reason I remember it specifically is because he sold the Burberry shirt that I have.
Oh, yeah.
I think he sold it for like $200. And I was like, come on. What is this?
It's worth more than that.
But yeah, so like it's definitely something that if you're younger, you've probably seen it before. If you're older than us or same as our age, it's not something that naturally would come to us to participate in, especially me. I'm not an online buyer at all.
Yeah,
so it's not something I would participate in default.
Not my default, but I'm interested in this space. I'm spending time looking at these things. So TikTok Shop is where you'd see people doing this. I think I would argue that we got a hint of this with the NPC live streaming a couple of years ago. Very similar deal. Live entertainment, and they're making money from selling something. Now, in this case, they weren't selling a digital product. They were selling their reaction to a fucking rose.
Whatever, yeah.
Ice cream, yeah. That sort of stuff. So we're already seeing it. This is coming. It's already here to a certain extent. And, Gary's observation that I linked in there was a lot of the reason people are buying things in this isn't because they actually want the product. You're not going to this stream and going like, I actually want this product. A lot of times, sometimes it is, but a lot of times people are buying an item as a kind of subconscious tip to the creator. Like here's some money, and they're getting a product of some sort, but they don't actually need it or perhaps even want it. It's like, I'm going to buy this thing and it's a thank you.
Sure.
Which is...
I've done that before.
Yep, I've done that before. That's somewhat V4V-esque. You know, in value for value, you don't use the word tip because that implies something like of small value, and that if you want to, you can give something much larger. But yeah, I've done it before with a creator, and this was back in the day of blogs with Rouge V, where I bought his books, his shirts, just to say thank you for helping me after years of like reading his stuff. You know, I was never going to do like he had like in-person meetups, things that you could do, like one-on-one training and stuff like this. But you know, I'm here in Australia, he's in the US. That was never going to happen. So he maybe had a donation page if you wanted to, but that was one of those ones where it's like, I don't want to just like give him money, but I will give him money if there's like just the smallest semblance of something in return.
Sure.
A shirt or whatever. So, you know, this is, I've been hinting at this a little bit, and it's probably going to remain on the back burner for a while, even though I was very close to pulling the trigger, which was VFriends Down Under. And I wanted to experiment with this live commerce-tainment idea of creating a podcast around VFriends. Wearing the shirt right now, the jumper. And then having a physical store where I would have, you know, some manga cards, because I've got a whole bunch of them now, or perhaps even, you know, mere mortal shirts if people wanted to participate in that, and buy from there. And the thing that's actually really stopped me the most was going, oh man, the shipping process is going to be a nightmare. Honestly, the logistics of doing that and shipping from Australia to wherever, that is extremely tedious. So you're doing the once again, it's like you're creating the content, but then there's this additional element of like, you're going to have to do something on the back end. And look, value for value is very similar if you're looking at how Adam Curry does it. They've got a whole thing where it's, if you get to a certain level, you get sent like a parchment and a ring with wax so that you can be a no agenda knight and you know, put your diploma up on the wall and all sorts of random stuff. So there's a whole bunch of things which are not necessarily related to the content creation, but are necessary if you want to earn some money from it. And this is the same for advertising as well. So yeah, I think we'll kind of pause it there for the moment, and then we'll get into my big brain.
Big brain.
Section. Do we have any Boostagrams for today? So for those who don't know, Boostagram Lounge, in which case, I'm going to start like a new little trend here, which is when we get a Boostagram in, I'm going to reward the viewers at home with the Chuck's Clocks beanie as a thank you.
As a thank you.
For sending in a Boostagram.
Good.
A Boostagram, for those who don't know, is a message with money attached to it, or vice versa, money with a message attached to it, which you can send in directly to the show via a podcasting app like Fountain, Castomatic, Podverse, Curiocaster, places like that, True Fans. And is a way of expressing some support for the show, meremortalspodcast.com/support if you want to know how to do that. And Juan's going to bring one up here.
So again, on our stream, it's quite a few streams that have come through. So from the late bloomer actor that have popped up in our Boostagram space. So appreciate those obviously listening into that one. But we've got Cole McCormick. Thanks for being on America Plus, Karen. You guys' content is pure and honest. Keep going and keep doing you. 333 sats. sent using Fountain.
Thank you. And he sent that live. And I see he's got a comment on the stream as well. So I'll read that out shortly.
Beautiful. And just on the book review side as well, there's a couple that came through there on the book review side. But again, it's more so stream than it is any comments. So I appreciate that. Let's see them on those.
Beautiful.
Sense come through.
Thank you. And Cole says there's a cultural pull to make content to only sell things. Content for self-expression is called art. Yeah, we should probably get into that at some point. More people should invest in art. And Cole actually had a recent episode all about art as well. So America Plus, if you want to... Actually, he probably did a better job than we could on it because he's, I would say, more artistic than either of us. Or,
for sure.
Invested in the arts. He's an artistic, cultural... what would you call it? Like... he's not a critic, but he's a connoisseur.
Well,
especially when it comes to movies.
I haven't said this to anybody actually.
What have you done?
So I'll keep it very tight-lipped. But I won't reveal too much into it. But speaking of art, we've been making a little bit of money making art here in this household. Okay. Yeah. It's digital art, of course, using all the tools that you'd imagine to use. And we're making some nice little money on the side week to week. And this was not initiated by me. It was initiated by my wife. And I was like, she told me about it. I went, I don't think people are going to buy it. Dude, people are buying it. It's pretty amazing. It's just little digital creations. And I'm like, that's really cool.
Is it worth talking about here, or is this kind of...
Nah, I'll keep it tight-lipped. I'll offline. I'll demonstrate to Karen what it is. Okay. And you will be amazed that people are paying for this. I'm telling you, you would be amazed. But I'll keep it tight-lipped.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Funnily enough, I am just about to order some frames, and when I was at the Hosky Summit, I received 3 of the kind of 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter spray paint Hosky. Art, which is kind of like. Sure. It looks like the NFTs, the original cash grabs, and I'm gonna get 3 frames which mirror the frames that you can get of the actual cash grabs and put them on the wall.
I can appreciate. I've got an original from our original V4V Series 1 Swaggy Sea Lion printout in a frame, not in a frame. It was in a canvas that they sent out to everyone. So I've got one of those, and I've got the series, like the first VCon, plaque of being at the location, which you've seen before, and it's like a real nice thing. I can appreciate that for sure.
Which Juan does not display. He hides that somewhere, I believe.
Correct.
Okay. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Cole, and everyone else who is participating in supporting the show. It does make a big difference.
Let's go into the big brain.
All right. So here we go. There's more digital content creators, especially AI versions coming. How will these be monetized in general? And I'm going to go absolutely left curve on this.
Okay.
With the and then go Giga brain right curve on the other side. So it's related to attention economy, and there's kind of two parts of this. There's the economy part and the attention part. And so I guess just a broad question before I go into my ideas. Digital AI content creation that's coming. There's going to be a wave of that. How do you think this will be monetized? What in terms of just like any general trends you think might happen? Will it still stay similar to how we see things now with a lot of advertising, some patronage like Patreon, V4V type things? Would there be perhaps a new method of them? And when I say them, I'm meaning like AI with perhaps a person behind it, because we certainly don't have the AGI agents running around doing their own thing yet. So
I guess I'll summarize it. You're probably using that equation because it kind of partakes. As a
give us the equation.
Because the return on generosity, right? The return on generosity is going to be the difference in quality, the difference in access, the difference in meaning. So I'll add them all up, divided by the latency, aka how often it is. So what does that mean from an AI perspective? Quality, they're all going to be run to a race to the bottom in the sense, or top, if you want to call it this, where the quality is going to be just basically the same. Everyone's going to have the availability to create the same quality level of things. So between the highest end to the lower end, in a couple of years' time, maybe months' time, who knows, everyone's going to have the ability to create cinematic, perfect, beautiful things. Okay, so then the quality is the same. One part. 2, access. Okay, that's where it starts getting a little bit different in that if it's gated access or you have to be part of a community or something, I can see that there's a difference in return on generosity. If it's, okay, I'm only making this available to 200 people and there's some other background to it, all right, that makes it different. And meaning, which I guess is the biggest piece on this, which is, again, as more content, and it's going to be a content explosion of things that are out there, I think it's going to become less meaningful in what is being outputted. Even if it is fairly unique content that is being AI generated, it'll just become such an abundance that it'll be maybe the bits that will have more return on generosity are the ones that have more meaning to you. And that's either because it's customizable. So if someone creates an app out there that kind of like Netflix, but it's using AI and you just generate whatever you want to watch, there's probably a lot of meaning because it's meaningful to you or there's some entertainment to you, right? So those three things. And then latency is going to be, well, again, AI side of things, it's just going to be as quickly as things can be created, it's going to become even faster and faster and faster. So when I look at that, and you ask me a question, how are we going to be monetizing? I think the problem with the AI content and everything avalanche that's about to come is it's going to reduce probably people's wantingness to share value around it because there's just going to be such abundance for it. But the only thing that's going to be different is going to be, okay, access or gating it in some form or meaning. And I think the meaning bit, I'll probably get into it a little bit later, is where I think the differentiation is going to have to be needed. Otherwise, you're just going to get in the swarm of AI content that gets generated. So someone says, how might you? I'm sure there's loads of different ways, but I just think the default is it's going to take a lot of people who create content and monetize it in some various ways, and it's just going to avalanche that completely and just whitewash everything. There's going to be so much content that people are going to go, well, why am I paying for anything given that I can now get it for basically free?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So the quality, I guess, I'm more of the opinion that I think you're right, and there's going to be such an avalanche of things that whilst there will still be a premium on human only, I think there's some people who will still be I only want it if it's a human, that I'm watching or listening. That will be a small niche, and that the AI kind of wave will be the larger portion, especially as you mentioned, the quality. If you compare us to how we are now, we've got big ass lights over here. There's 2 stands coming out. We're able to see ourselves on the on the video now in 2 different ways. Got multiple cameras. There's another camera around if a backup, all this sort of stuff. If you'd talked to us 5 years ago, it would have been holy shit, that's a lot of stuff, man. That's if you've gone all out that, the quality wise is much more extreme. If you don't need that, if you can get away without having all of this shit, man, I would be very happy. Not having all of this stuff. So competing against the version of us which has all of this and then extra lighting that makes us look extra better or whatever, that is not physically possible for us. Yeah, I think that makes sense, and there will be a lot of that coming. Once again, there'll be a human niche, but probably the AI wave will. So the quality, I definitely agree with. The access part, I think that's going to get into the kind of technology aspect, which I'll get into in a second. And the story part, which I intentionally neglected before in terms of the Van Gogh versus Milli Vanilli, I think that's going to be hugely, hugely important, and probably almost more important than the content creation itself. So yes, you'll be perhaps typing or talking into your thing saying hey, I want this type of video to be created and it's going to look like this, or the people will discuss these types of things, or whatever it is, the art will look like this. That'll still be important, of course, but I definitely see more effort being put into, okay, how can I create a story around this which is intriguing? How can I make my AIs do something unexpected, for example? I think that's going to be one of the things that'll be a differentiator of good AI versus bad AI, or interesting AI versus uninteresting, is that you'll have ones which fuck up or do something unexpected, and you're whoa, this, the Coca-Cola brand AI just did something crazy. Like that's fucking wild. And so the story behind things, I think, will be really interesting. And what was the last one? The latency. Whoa.
Yeah, latency. So basically just how often the content can be generated. Because again, you could be absolutely amazing, but if you do it once a year, okay, return on generosity is going to be pretty hard to manage.
Yeah, and that could be an interesting one as well. That probably gets more into the story as well, I think, which is if you've got a one big release a year, so you can create some hype around that versus you have the ability to create infinite content with these things, more or less, then what kind of schedule do you want to put things out on? Because if you just got like a never-ending stream
every
of
single minute
and crap coming out, then that might not be the best strategy for gaining an audience, keeping an audience, that sort of thing. So the technology aspect, there's kind of the left curve aspect of this, which is the economy part for me. So there are enough examples now, I think, of how technology is being used across different formats of content creation that I feel reasonably confident. I'd say like 72% confident that this is kind of the types of ways that people will be making money from content creation for I'm going to say like the next 5 years. 5 years.
Okay.
I feel is a decent time time span. So for images and short GIFs, so this is more those static visual things. I think NFTs are the way. So when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of things like pretty much the art that you might see in a museum, but of a digital form. I think that's going to be even more. So this can kind of come into things like funding, community access, and like I said, art. So I followed this guy called Cooper Trooper for a while, and he was really trying to do this for music, and it didn't work well. Like he was creating, here's an NFT of this audio of this music, and he had a whole platform for it. And I've watched him over the past couple of years, and I was always going like, I just don't think this makes sense for music. And I tested around. I don't think I ever bought any, but I've certainly played around on his platform, and it just didn't make sense to me. And he's kind of pivoted and switched to something new, which I'll talk about something as well. There was a version of this for Cardano as well, like a music thing called Noom. As far as I can tell, it hasn't really worked. And even movies, documentaries. The Ethereum documentary on Vitalik, for example, wasn't created as an NFT. That's not how they monetized that. What they did was created an NFT for like funding, and I think we've seen a lot of this. If we look at like the V Friends and things like this, a lot of this was like, hey, I'm going to create an NFT. This is a funding mechanism. Tim Ferriss did this for Cock Punch, which was exclusively like, this is purely funding his Sisay thing.
Correct.
If something else comes out of it, that's a bonus, and should be viewed pretty much as a donation. The community aspect, you mentioned VCon, and the artistic ones, things like Xcopy, for example. He creates digital art and he sells that as an NFT. So images, short GIFs, I think that's the technology path going forward. That's how you make money.
Okay.
For audio, I think it's going to be the streaming and micropayments. That's kind of the way I see that going. So this is very much for I believe this is how music will end up. Like I mentioned with Cooper Trooper, he was doing it for music and it wasn't working so well. I think it's shown to be working decently well for podcasting so far. As other ways of doing it, of course, the ad reads and all that sort of stuff. But I think it makes sense for me that audio, like pure audio experiences, it will go to the streaming, micropayments, boostagrams, that sort of thing. Whether they're called that, I don't know. I still have the idea that someday a Spotify type thing will be like, you pay a subscription, or even subscriptions kind of come into this where it's like, it's a subscription, but it gets broken into who you're actually listening to directly versus at the moment, if you subscribe to Spotify, most of your money is going to Taylor Swift and who's the Sabrina Carpenter. And even if you're really into Tool or to niche band like the Dorfels, for example, none of my money would be going to them if that's who I was listening to on Spotify. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with music. That'll be interesting. But I think that's shown to work for podcasting. For text, so this is kind of the blogging type digital content creation. I think this is going to be coins. So we're seeing this, the meme coin craze. I don't think was actually about the picture. I think it was about the text, because people would always talk about like, what's the ticker? It's Pepe. It's not when they're talking about like the meme coin. Sure, there's the image, but it would always be with the ticker PEPE. And I feel that's just a version of what people have been doing. It's hard, but I would say that was a text-based thing. I'm very interested to see what will happen with this Zora protocol that's being developed on Base, which is every post is a coin essentially, and this is getting into the investing side of things, and there'll be some interesting dynamics. I think some of it will work, some of it won't. Where essentially what happens, for those who don't know, is you put a post up, and by and large, it's kind of like a Twitter clone type deal. So it's mostly going to be text with perhaps an audio or an image or a video, but by and large, it's text, and that will be created as a coin. 1 billion of your whatever post it is created. You get 1% as the creator, and then the rest goes into being able to buy from your community or something like that. And so the idea is that people will invest in that post as like, oh, that thing's going to go viral, I'm going to buy now early and perhaps sell later. Or perhaps it's another kind of subconscious tip to the creator of like, oh, that was really interesting. Like, if I like, it's also the equivalent of buying 10 coins of this thing. I don't know. But I think that's probably going to happen, and I think that's probably how it'll work for text.
Okay.
And then the other one, other two, I guess, and I'm splitting the video up into two here, is live video. The Commerce-tainment makes sense to me. Perhaps with a dose of all the others, because I looked at the Pump Fun live streaming, for example, another recent, I don't know if you call it innovation, but it's mixing a gambling / investing platform with the live streaming aspect.
Yeah.
And that has the kind of gambling on the attention part. TikTok NPCs, they have the interactivity. Twitch and Kick still have donations, so that kind of how it works on those types of live streaming. But certainly the ability to buy something directly within the stream, I think, is the way that goes. And then static video is just fucking cooked. I don't see how any of that is going to change. It'll probably stay the same way for a long time. YouTube, for example, I try to verify this because I've heard this many times, is that YouTube doesn't, as a entity, doesn't show if they're profitable or not. They don't say like what's the revenue and expenses for YouTube as an entity. Google doesn't show that. Alphabet. And there's been questions for a long time of like, is YouTube actually profitable? Do they make money from that, or is this simply a way of gaining data that they can then use for other services?
Or something else.
I asked AI, I asked ChatGPT, and it was saying that they are, but I don't know how it came to that, because I don't believe there's any physical reports coming out from these companies or financials coming out on exclusively YouTube. But the main thing there is like, I think the advertising model will still probably be the thing that is is for video.
Driving it for it. Yep.
It was for TV. You know, there was the on-demand kind of aspect, I guess, of Netflix, which used subscriptions. You know, perhaps subscriptions are a model there, but yeah, the technology side for video just seems. I'm not sure consumer behavior is going to be that different. Like if you're watching a movie, for example, or many YouTube videos are like that nowadays, where it's a 30-minute long kind of documentary piece type thing. You're not wanting to be like interacting with it, like, oh, I'm gonna like click here and I'm gonna be donating here, or I'm gonna And I feel like a lot of, especially YouTubers, I'm looking for stuff. My brother and I were doing some cornices in the rooms here. Can't see it in the back, but just like the top between
corners,
the wall and the ceiling, you're putting in that little piece of wood, or well, it's not wood, but the cornice. And just the house we're in is just so fucking janky, man. There is this, the laundry has 4 walls, and you think like, oh, 90, 90, 90. Not 4 90-degree angles. No, there's 2 90-degree angles, and then there's one which is like 62 degrees, and one which is like 138 or whatever. Or 128. And we had no idea how to fucking cut these pieces of wood to get them flush and level. And so we were looking up some random dude on YouTube who was explaining like, oh yeah, you know, if you got your buzzsaw or whatever, you have to do this, and then because it's a wider angle, what you actually need to do is like put this other 90-degree thing in. And so it was just like this whole complicated thing. I didn't want to, it was very helpful. I was not invested in that creator. I did not care about, you know, donating to him or anything like that. And that's where probably advertising is makes sense to me. It's like, all right, well, he's got a whole bunch of random people tuning in. Yeah, if each of them pays with their time and attention rather than direct money, that kind of makes sense to me. So, yeah, those are a couple of ideas of my the economy part of where I think things might be going.
Sure. Okay. I think apart from the live streaming piece, I think I kind of disagree
with everything.
Not so much disagree. Like I guess part of it. No, I'll put it this way. I think that you're on the money, but it's not on the money as in, if you're listening to this, I reckon you're going to find that it only applies to like 10% of the population. So kind of like as an example for the static image and GIF, I think as the next 5 years, you can for sure make some money from the utilization of NFTs. But is that going to be the predominant way?
Well, how are you guys doing it?
Not through NFT. No, it's just pure direct to consumer digital product. And I think that, so
like they buy on a website or something?
Correct. And so I think through that format, it's you're going to have, there's a larger percent of the population who are going to be willing to still transact. I'm talking, you said 5 years, still transact in the very normal means. Then again, has NFTs become easier to purchase? In some ways it has for a select few of individuals who've played around in that space. But even the existing people maybe who have existed in the space of NFTs have kind of moved away from it in some way, shape or form. Even talking about like Gary Vee, they're putting a lot of effort. He's got a bigger play, but obviously on physical stuff and the creation of cartoons and a few other things. I don't think that his play is, the NFT is the core. It's part of the bigger play. And I think
I disagree with that.
I
think the whole thing for him was these are meant to be the ultimate collectible. That's he's creating stories and things, and he's using digital means to do that.
For the NFTs.
I think that was the kind of like whole point of them.
Yeah, where I see it more as these NFTs were created.
He didn't start creating the characters and all of the movies, not movies, the cartoons, the trading cards and stuff, and then do the NFTs later.
No, correct. But I think here is like the NFTs came first, and in the end, though, they're going to be a part of a cornerstone, let's just say. But the way that he might build that out might not be but it's the NFTs. You know, I think it's more like, broadly, it might be, yes, I want to be able to get kids from the beginning to like the product and then interact in the product ecosystem, and that might be videos and toys, and NFT might be a part of that.
Well, this is the order I'd put things. And there's probably the same for most content creators. They want to express something, show something, or influence people in some sort of way. So Gary V, he wants to get across the values of kindness, tenacity, accountability, all of the fucking 250 characters. Then I'd put like the NFTs below that, and then it's the how he's actually going to do that in terms of
okay. And maybe Karen closer here. And so I guess I don't see it in the way that he's building out it seems the ecosystem play. But even then, so like to the NFT, like again, static images GIF. I think you are right. Yes, money can be made in that format. I don't think it's going to be of any significant increase in comparison to so many other ways now that are going to come. So again, I've seen direct examples of just direct to consumer with technology increases, aka AI. There's going to be a whole bigger portfolio of the market who are going to want whatever that's unique to whatever they request. That will become so much easier for creators to do that. So I'm telling you right now, if you look into the space, I'll be semi-specific. Look into the space where you create content that is unique to someone who is sort of a maybe slightly older generation that can't participate or utilize that technology. You'll make bank. Like there is people making bank in that space. And I reckon even that market alone would be bigger than NFT playing around, just because there's a bigger proportion of people who play in that space. But it's not to say that you
sounds
can't.
More like a service though. So you're talking about you're creating something for someone. So they're buying something.
Correct. So, but it's like a static image or a GIF.
But there's what I'm, and that's different. I would say that's a service. That's more along the lines of like the Lewis Mocker type thing. And I'm imagining more someone who's like, I'm creating something for, expression in some sort of way.
Yeah. Okay.
So like Cole was saying, does what we're doing here fall under the definition of art?
Yeah. I guess I get where you're coming from. I'll guess personally, and guess me and more lads, feel free to comment on this when you listen in afterwards. My view is when it comes into NFTs for pure art, and I guess maybe that's where I'm more not on the side, I guess maybe like how Cole is mentioning. If I saw an NFT now of whatever, I'm just about never going to buy something for the art ever. Like that's not going to happen unless it's a physical thing. Unless it's physical. Digital, there's just no way. In the pure sense of like, okay, I'll just create it myself in either technology or copy it. If VFriends was today serious, again, there's zero chance I'm buying anything art related. I'm buying it purely for, it brings attention, but for other reasons than me. So maybe that's where I'm coming from it, as opposed to, if 16-year-old today says I'm a really good creator and like good image creator, and I'll use tools to create like a really cool image and I'll make an NFT of it. I reckon fat fucking chance unless you got a way to get the eyeballs on your product.
Yeah. Well, that gets into the attention part, which is the next bit that I had here.
Okay.
So the attention economy. So this is the Giga brain, super big idea.
Okay. Yeah.
And so if you remember when we were going down to Kangaroo Points, the cliffs, for some reason, I have no idea. I can't remember why we were going down there so long ago now. Why we were recording down there rather than in South Bank. Maybe it was just easier for some days.
I think it was sometimes it was easier for where we parked at the car spot and it was at the end of the cliffs, and then we would just walk to the right. I don't know why we wouldn't have gone to the south.
Yeah,
South Bay. I don't know.
maybe it was when during that time we got kicked out and we were waiting. Anyway, there was an episode there, and
did Halloween? When you were dressed as Dora, or could have
been. I can't remember which one it was, but there was this idea I had back then, and it stuck with me, which was when we're all Neuralinked up, when we are, let's say we've got proof of humanity with WorldCoin or some bullshit like that, iris scans, and I think consciousness someday can be measured in some sort of form. At the moment, we've got, we know there's a qualitative difference between myself and an ant, hopefully. And then we can also say to probably some other people where it's like, okay, you know, the guy with IQ 85 and is very just like slow, aka our friend Joseph, compared to, you know, someone with an IQ 40, 140. Joey's still probably less than the guy with IQ 40. The 140, I think you can still say like, okay, the consciousness of the 140 person is probably stronger, more flowing than someone with 85. I feel that's an accurate statement to say. The no questions of like differences in terms of how they should be perhaps treated humanity-wise and human rights and things like that. But I think consciousness-wise, I'd say that person is the 140 guy is more conscious. And you could do this with all sorts of things, like the person who's like in the 9-to-5 job, fucking slaving over, like doing the same repetitive task versus like perhaps someone who's super creative or spiritual or something like that. I'd say consciousness is different between them. And someday, I'm thinking it'll be measured. So, you know, when that comes, there'll be some sort of token that is streamed continuously to where attention is pointed. And so this is where I'm getting into like, you know, this is the full, imagine the Futurama type world, Wreck-It Ralph when they get into the internet, if you've seen that, the metaverse, digital world of fucking mayhem where it's just shit flying everywhere. How do you know, like, how could anyone have any sort of value attached to things and things like this? I think it's going to be measured and distributed via consciousness and AKA where your attention is directed.
Yeah, okay. So, I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. I think it's too complex for it to be a reality in that. Yeah, I think that's my vision. I'll borrow something. I'll borrow something similar. I think it's what will happen. This is my Kurzweil prediction style from Juan. Is yes, there will be tokens. It'll be the transition to tokens. Now, will that be Bitcoin? You know, in the Satoshi format, will that be something else? I don't know, but I could very well see a future 20 years from now where AI progresses to such a point that we're gone beyond general intelligence to super intelligence, to the point that, you know, for 95% of work, you don't need to do it anymore. There's just so much efficiency in the market and economy that you don't really need to. And at that point, you could have governments or companies, don't know exactly how that might be structured, but everyone gets a set amount of tokens per year because just the economy is going. So like so money basically becomes meaningless at that point, money. And so you just have tokens, and the tokens get you things, and you can pull tokens together to go do different things with different people, just like you might invest, or you could just use it to live out your life. And then you can, as usual, go and do delta more things to provide value to get tokens in the return back. What those tokens look like, and weirdly, I think this is where I'm slowly transitioning to a maxi. I'm like, I don't see why would you use anything else but Bitcoin? That's kind of like my mentality at that point. It's like, why in the fuck would you be using anything else if that is the underlying use for this particular tech? Yes, I can see the use of like Ethereum or something else where it's like programmable and you start seeing changes. However, part of me goes, so like the value that many years ago looking into all of these, like, oh, yeah, it's programmable and you can really identify who is doing these things. I start going, well, I don't know if that's actually as valuable as I recall it once upon a time being. Because yes, it would be interesting to know that, hey, this is being created by this particular person. Now that I think about it, again, in 15 years, is anyone going to give a shit? Like, will a kid growing up, like, will my daughter growing up today, 15 years old? Because there's been questions to teenagers, I think it was. I can't remember where I heard this, but I reckon there'll be people here listening to this who will believe it's true, that I honestly, I disagree with. Like, I would be like, what? Is it serious? But I heard it. And it was, kids were being asked, like, oh, you know, this particular content that you're watching or whatever, actually it's fake or it's being AI generated. And basically their answer was, oh, I don't actually care if what I'm watching or interacting with is true or lie or AI, as long as I'm entertained, as long as it's capturing my attention. And I think it'll just move more towards that, where I would have said, maybe I still hold that insight of going, that technology to be able to know that this is coming from the genuine person and it's coming from me and it's realistic. Oh, that's going to be valuable. I start I'm challenging myself going, yeah, but is it really? Like it's going to be to our existing generation because we value that. But if in the coming generation, the value is, no, I just want to be entertained. I don't actually care that this is real or not real. Will the human element really become that formidable?
Let's do this as a topic for next week. Like I don't know what we'll call it. Something like life in 2100 or something. And
okay, will humanity be valuable?
Yeah,
but I think on your right brain, I do think that I do agree and see that in some way, shape, or form. Some tokenization either given by larger entities or through some way of just your the way that you spend time and effort, that's just where your tokens go and the people just consume them, uptake them, and it just goes around in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
I could see that functioning that way.
There's the Giga brain, aka like fucking delusional sort of shit that we're talking about. But they
look, so in the end, what does that mean for us?
Wait, so my little sum up here.
What does that mean for us? What are we changing about what we do then? Based on all of this?
Well, so live video is, like I said, what we're kind of doing here. Well, we do a bit of everything though, because we've got the audio, we've got the live video. I guess I wouldn't really say we've got the images. Once upon a time, when I was much more motivated, I was creating all those, unique images. Mm-hmm. So that would have been ticking off that box. We'll take that away now. So the live video aspect, judging from my thing, we should be doing commerce-tainment. That's what we should be doing here.
Okay.
And honestly, it's not that hard to integrate in with what we're doing now. We probably could just have a phone up on the stand here, and the mere mortal shirt that you're wearing, for example. I neglected to mention it today, but you send in a boost of a certain X amount, 100,000 sats, and you can get a mere mortals t-shirt. Not this one, but one similar. That's not hard to integrate into this, what we're doing right here. And then we could also have the, just general shop of mere mortals beanie or something if we created something like that.
I get where you're coming from with that. I get where you're coming from with it. My default assumption, and this is just this is not us. This is me and everyone. Literally any creator, bar maybe one. If they did that, I would just be I don't give a fuck. I'm here to watch the content. In fact, I would just skip it. If there was a session where it was
You don't watch live video though.
Watched it this morning. Hated it.
What did you watch?
Alex Hormozi was doing his $100 million new book launch.
Yeah.
Huge. Heaps of people buying it.
Yeah.
He marketed the fuck out of it.
Okay.
It was from 2 a.m. this morning. I got up at about 4, so I was watching part of it because it was still going.
Yeah.
Watched for 15 minutes. Bored on my mind. I was like, this is shit.
Yeah.
He had, but this is the crazy thing. He had guest speakers, which is kind of maybe even better than sometimes stuff he does. It's similar to the content that he created. He was giving away these freaking books for free, for certain people doing the things. And I couldn't give a rat's ass about interacting on the comments, whatever.
But now, that's just you.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm is it, there was a lot of people on the live.
Yeah, I bet there was.
Is it a problem that maybe if it was 5 people that would have enjoyed it more because there would be more direct? No, I actually think, what I genuinely think is it was too high quality.
Okay.
For being live, and my only default thing would be I would have
I fucking hate this high quality.
No, it was in the sense of it was live, yes, but it was just live as if you're watching a TV show live.
Yeah.
And then between that, so between, if you tell me, you can watch a TV show live or you can watch it just delayed whenever you want, my answer is I'll just watch it whenever I want at my own convenience. But if it was really just not rough, but raw, real, it was just somebody doing a video of whatever, talking about some particular thing that's meaningful to them, and maybe they didn't repost it again anyway, and it was okay, cool, I might tune in and listen to this. That's the only thing personally that I could see myself interacting with it live. Again, this is just myself, so me more lights.
Yeah,
please tell me if I recorded my book review live, the book reviews I do, if I recorded them live versus pre-recorded them, and then reposted them.
Yeah.
If I'm a watcher of that, or like as an audience member, the way I'm creating them right now, I don't care if it's live or not live. I guess is the way I'm thinking at it.
Well,
and
me too, actually. I don't care. The only reason I do it is for convenience.
Yeah, for convenience for yourself. So, So convenience-wise aside, I go, what's the benefit here from an audience member? If, and again, this is just me, if I saw someone doing like the selling commercial aspect of it, where it was like, we got these shirts and whatnot, I would probably just, in my mind, skip that content. I'd just be like, oh, that's not what I'm here for. And that's just my trend, I guess, of how I've supported and done like value for people.
Yeah.
That's how I would kind of go. Unless there's a trigger or reason that I would be like, oh, I really want to support them or do those particular things. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And look, the reason we do it live now, honestly, a large part of it is convenience for me as well. So so when you're doing things for convenience rather than for doing it because it suits the genre, for example. So like, yes, you can create the music, but then selling it as an NFT, it's not going to get widespread adoption. You're better off putting it on Spotify, even if you hate the platform and feel like they're, you know, not fair to creators or whatever, which a lot of people do seem to. I had more about Rick Beato and stuff here, but I'll leave that for next week because I think it'll actually get into that.
My summary, I guess I'll say from an investment creator, so at least like the way I see it, again, I default go investing in creators will continue. Like that happens now. Yes, it'll transition the way. It'll still be very much foundational on just attention, just pure attention. And if I had to think about it, because I've thought about it a lot from a podcast perspective, or this mere mortals and what do we do and how does that translate into that attention into some sort of value that we return, I still go, my default is, yep, I just want to do things that are good cadence that I can do. It's like long term, which will include all the variations and improvement in technology. And so, you know, if that changes to utilizing different platforms and doing different things, sure. But I want to be able to create, again, the underlying ideas and thoughts are ours is pretty unique. And again, it's hard to replicate that with AI given where its information learning base is, right? And they're not doing recursive learning on Juan and Karen. That's just stuff that comes from us. And I kind of go, there will be some level of value to people who care about that more human, that is us presenting information of the world at large. And to be honest, more so where I would want value probably to come in payments or other things. I'm genuinely thinking it'll just be from other ventures that I do, kind of like a Tom or a Lewis, not in the sense of like, hey, now I've got your attention, go do this, but more, hey, I'm opening X or I'm doing Y or whatever. And people might want to support that because they know the background of who I am. More along those lines.
Yeah, for me, it's technology can enable new behavior, change behavior. So not only is video a completely new format, if we're going back to caveman days, 300 years ago, we had the live aspect of live theater, of visual things, of audio, text, and images. You had all of those three things, bar the video component, and behavior was very different. They had marketplaces, artists. There was more the patronage model. Mozart had backers and Beethoven and people like that. The kings and queens, they were the connoisseurs of art and things like that. Text would be only for the ultra wealthy and things like that. Gutenberg printing press comes out, then you can start newspapers, and that creates a whole new thing. So technology changes behavior, and of being able to be a content creator. And it's funny thinking of like a newspaper as a content creator, but they were revolutionary at the cutting edge of that back in the day. It changes behaviors, and I think we're going to see it, like I mentioned in that kind of split up that I had between the various formats. Will it be exactly that? There'll be blending and mergings, but there's kind of how I see things at the moment. The idea of investing in a creator, the shakiest one I still think is the Zora coin. There's a post and you invest, and you're trying to make money from people creating things as the consumer of the product. This has been one of the ideas of NFTs when it was first coming out, which is like, I've got proof that I went to like the very first Taylor Swift concert or
like a
things
Pope.
like that.
Yep.
And was the idea with that to then socially flex on people, or was it to resell it to another person? I haven't seen much of the reselling type behavior, so I think it's more of the social flexing on it type idea.
If you socially flex a pope, like
a POAP,
tell me if you do that, because fuck me, that would be the gayest, shittest thing I've ever seen. I've got loads of them. I remember going to locations where I was like, oh, stand in line to scan this thing so you can get your POAP.
So,
like,
so for those, it's proof of attendance protocol. So it's just a digital thing. I think it's an NFT proving that you were at a real life event.
Correct.
Or a digital event that you had to be online for at the time.
Yeah. And unless it's attached to something else, so like you can show proof to it, like a gated access to some kind. Okay, I get that. But if it's flex, man, don't come talking to me. If you flex your POAP, just don't come talk to me.
Yeah, I don't see much of the investing. I don't think that's going to be the behavior trend. I don't think you're going to invest in a creator to then be able to make money off of them. Perhaps for an artwork, yes, I can see that.
That's like that. I won't go into too much, but there's a guy on Gold Coast doing exactly that as a business and doing really well. As in like he's investing in creators that are really small.
Yeah.
And basically taking equity piece of them as they get bigger. So he is like directly investing. He's also building the marketplace for that. But it's weird. It was a weird concept.
That's more VC. I guess that
like it would be the equivalent of a wealthy person or company coming in and be like, hey, actually guys, we really believe in what you're doing. We're going to give you $10 million to make it bigger. We just want 10% of your company. That's it. Just like basically don't advertise, don't do anything, just scale up, do all your things. That's basically what he's kind of doing.
Yeah.
I went,
Yeah, that kind of works, but it's like, if he was to come to us, for example, and say that, and I'd kind of go like, okay, but I don't really have plans. I'm still just going to do digital content. I don't have plans to make this into a
of course. He's obviously going to people who are thinking of very directly generating revenue and just going like, look, the way that he terms it, which I kind of agree, is rather than investing in companies, he thinks that the next couple of years will be it'll be the creator economy, in that invest in creators and whatever they do, NFTs, whatever, it'll be your attention to a creator will be higher than what most companies see. In turn, that's where the money's going to go. In turn, he's going to get money based on having equity partnerships with them.
Yeah, that's very much more the real life meat space sort of thing. And I'm imagining more of the people. So what he's doing doesn't require him to consume any of their content.
Correct.
And I'm what I was talking more about was the people consuming the content and participating with that creator of some sort of form. So yeah, I think it'll be more of the spending, consuming, supporting them like that, with perhaps a bit of the kind of value for value of just giving them money as a thank you. And probably like the term value for value will never make it into like a mainstream. That is probably one thing I've changed my mind on over the last couple of years, is value for value as that concept won't be a mainstream concept. It'll be a behavior.
Yeah, it'll be like a principle behind it. Yep.
But you might not even realize that's what you're doing. Yet it's happening kind of beneath the surface or subconsciously or something like that. So I suppose those are a couple of the random ideas. I did see a live comment here. Hosky NFT cash grabs 1.0 are the best. Yes, so they are. They've got the 10K out at the moment, which was just like a random
extra edition. Cool. Okay.
So next week we'll go into life in 2100 is just a date. We could change that to whatever. But we'll be talking. The one thing just to add at the end is when they're asking kids about AI and they don't care, I feel like you could have asked kids about, is this TV show not real 20 years ago? And they'd say like, I don't care. Or watching a reality TV
show.
And it's like, okay, but you realize that this is kind of scripted, right? Like the Geordie Shore, like this isn't actually...
Yeah, people are like, I don't care.
Well, not people. I think kids would, and probably some people, but kids mostly would be like, I don't care. will they care about AI not being real in 20 years when they're an adult and making investing decisions and shit like that? Because my brother's kind of on the edge of this. I've seen this where he has been, he's seen videos, which I've then told him like, I don't think that's actually real. And he'd be like, I don't give a shit. And then recently, when it comes to things he does care more about, he is a lot more critical of, especially when it comes to like money or investing or health or things like that. He is much more
there's
discerning.
True. There's two differences there. There's one for entertainment versus actionable things. And I think if it's an actionable thing that's a direct, like you need to take an action on it, then sure, you might be more discerning because you want to be seeing the reality or whatever reality is that you needed to achieve the outcome that you want.
Yeah.
If it's entertainment,
I don't give a shit about, and like I'm very much aware that watching an anime series is not
exactly, but people do it because it's just like you don't care. It's entertainment, right? Yeah. So I think the
but people are making entertainment of Russians fighting Ukraine.
Well, at the moment, there's
like
heaps of new. You've got your fitness influencers. There's heaps of AI fitness influencers now coming out, and that people are creating full content on here's my day of the life of eating and my training, getting like gigantic amount of views.
Sure.
And I think part of that will just continue where it'll just be like, it's just, yes, it's digital, but it's just, hey, this is Simon, the digital whatever, and it's someone building it and they're building the story. People are just going to be entertained. Like entertainment perspective, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
People will not give a shit if it's real or not.
Yeah. And entertainment is just blurring more into blurring / merging into real life, I guess, where it just does look so visually like a person, or it's something that was 15 years ago replicable, you couldn't create something that looks exactly like that, and now you can. That's probably just why it's the uncanny valley of something where you can still tell it's kind of like an AI photo at the moment, but not exactly, and then it's getting very quickly to the point where it's
going beyond that valley. It's beyond that. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in live.
Much appreciated.
Listen in live for next week when we talk about 2100 or thereabouts, basically the future. What does that look like? I'm sure we'll have different views. It'll be lots of technology conversations and
absolutely
a whole bunch of different things. So tune in for that one.
Yeah, I've got this note on my phone forever, which has been called AI Shmai, and technology is making life harder. And some of the things I'd already written down here already apply to that. So
damn. Okay. Very good. All right. Be well wherever you are in the world. Juan out.
Karen out.
Good. Thank you.